Hi, it's Kyle with Music is a Verb. Yesterday, I listened to Cardigan by Taylor Swift. In that video, I generated a list of qualities that song had. Today, I used that list of qualities to create a track layer by layer that sounds like the soundscape in Cardigan. Let's take a look. Alright, so on my screen you can see all of the elements I used to build this track. I started with the very first thing you hear in the song, which is the sound of high heel shoes on a concrete floor, or in the song it's cobblestones, but I think the sound that I grabbed from my library was a concrete floor. So when I loop that sound, it sounds like this. Let me grab a loop. I put them on eighth notes. You'll see that if I zoom in, I had to chop up all of those little high heel sounds because the sample that I had, they weren't in time with the song. So I had to chop each one up and put them on eighth notes. In between those eighth notes, I took a different sample of a high heel and I put them on the subdivisions to create that kind of really quick triplet feel that we hear in the song. Take a listen when I add it in. Right here it goes. One of them is clearly accented. We get those driving eighth notes, but then we get all the little pieces in between. On top of that, I played some shaker. Here it sounds like this. It goes. Then I added tambourine on eighth notes like the heels. And this created the basic groove over which I thought this song was created and played. Alright, the next part that I put into the song is the main electric piano part. This is the part that has that repeated melodic figure that happens again and again over different chords. This song is in E flat, and I stayed in that key for this song. But instead of doing her repeated melodic pattern, which goes like this, I moved it up and used different notes of the scale to create a similar feel. I took those notes and I put chords under them that I thought would be interesting while staying different from what Taylor Swift does. The first chord that I used was A flat, the 4 chord. And when I play my repeated melodic figure and put A flat under it, we get this wonderful A flat major 7 chord with that melodic figure adding the major 7th on top. Take a listen to how it sounds in the song on top of the high heel groove. 4, 2, 5, 4, 2, 5. And it's going to go back to 4 there, delaying that one chord the same way that the actual song does. Underneath this main electric piano part, I added a driving chord stab part, which could or could not be actually a part of the same piano part, but I decided to add another piano on top as a layer. It was easier to play the chords that way. Take a listen to how that sounds with the chord stabs. Really keeps the track moving. They match the high heels perfectly, every single eighth note. Then 2, 5. On top of that, I added the more traditional elements of a groove. I started with the kick and the snare. I used a program called Battery. And then I added some light percussion in between to really accent and make it get that jittery feeling that I think is happening in the percussion of the track. I added some more percussion on top of that, again to keep up with that jittery, glitchy feeling. Some toms, goes like this. Really adds a lot going on, but it doesn't take away from kind of the ethereal atmosphere that we've created in the track. Once we've got a bass drum going, I added the organ, which I have to stop the track for. So the organ was my favorite part, my favorite sonic texture in the original song, and I spent a little time on it. I didn't go for a sound that mimicked exactly what they had. I used the elements of what they had to create my own sound. So I have an organ sound that I've added distortion to, And then I've added a step filter to it so that it will filter in time with the song. Take a listen to the organ by itself. So that's an organ playing the chords of the song, but it's been chopped and it's hitting that filter in time with the triplets of the song. I added under that just another layer which helps the organ feel a little fuller. Listen to how that sounds on top of all of our percussion, heels, and electric piano. Works in the background, and really it helps to give you even more of a glitchy feeling that the drums are trying to give you. On top of this, I added some low bass guitar, playing the roots of the chords. Sounds like this. Really sits underneath everything, playing all of those chord roots. So 4, 5. This is basically every layer I added, except I wanted to have some of those really cool guitar fills. So I took a guitar and I played just some really kind of R&B fills in the background. Here they come, they sound like this. Here the guitar comes. Very light in between phrases. Very light, but it adds something. And if there were vocals, those would happen in between the phrases, and we'd probably fade them up just a little bit to bring your attention to them as they come in between all the vocal parts. Alright, so one thing you might notice about the progression right now, no one chord, right? We've got 4, 5, 2, and back to 5, but no one chord. Why? Because we're saving it for the chorus, which is about to pop right here. So if I move our region over, we get what I did as the chorus section, which is essentially the same thing, except we land on a big one chord to start. We have all of the same elements happening, except one. I added this string part on top to kind of sit above all of the vocals. I noticed that that happened in the original track. Very simple, playing the chords, but that's going to sit layered in among everything. After that, I think we're ready to hear the whole thing. So let me go back to the beginning and we can talk a little bit about the arrangement as it goes by. Starts with just those high heels, and then in comes our electric piano and organ. Here we go. Vocals would come in the normal song. This is what I would call the verse, right? Coming up, we'll get verse part 2, guitar and bass and drums go. Now this is getting us ready for that final one chord to hit in the chorus. Here it comes, the chorus goes down, and we'd want some big soaring vocal over that, something memorable as a melody. And I did a double chorus at the end. Kind of noodled around on those guitar fills. And that's it. Alright, so that's my attempt to make a track that sounds something like Cardigan by Taylor Swift. If you enjoy this content, please remember to like and subscribe to the channel, and leave a comment to let me know other songs you think I should build layer by layer, or do a reaction video to. Thanks so much, and I'll see you soon.